I attribute absolutely everything good in my life today. This YouTube channel, my coaching services, my unconditional University of Sydney postgraduate offer, my body, my values and beliefs, my confidence, my entire personality. I attribute all of those things and so much more to the GMAT, to those 4 months of GMAT prep. It was those 4 months that changed the trajectory of the entire rest of my life. I never could have thought that I would actually say this, let alone on camera. But those really were the greatest 4 months of my life. I consider it my honor to have the opportunity to guide you, to guide other young men and women through the same challenge of conquering and excelling at a competitive exam, and to help them have a similar experience with the journey as well as with the result. So let's begin. Let me begin by saying that if you're looking for a quick fix, a hack, a trick, a shortcut to get the score that you want, this isn't it. And that brings me to my first point. Don't look at this as something that you just need to get out of the way, as a means to an end, as something that you just need to get over with. Look at it as a chance, as an opportunity to mold yourself into a better version of yourself. I had walked into this. I had started my GMAT prep, a boy who was incapable. I remember realizing this much later on, that at that point I thought that I'm just not putting in the work because I don't feel like it. But I realized that at that point I was incapable of putting in the work. And so I'd started my GMAT prep as a boy who was incapable of being productive for even 1 hour a day. 5-10 minutes was my limit, after which my mind would start to get distracted. I couldn't keep myself off of my phone or laptop for more than 15 minutes at a time. My screen time routinely touched double digits. Today, I honestly don't remember the last time my productive hours were in the single digits. I spend about 12 hours a day optimally on a daily basis. So couldn't spend another minute of those 12 hours more productively. I had gone into my prep a boy who used to wake up around noon and go about the entirety of his day alternating between Netflix and video games and Instagram and YouTube. I would fap at least twice a day and get high every single night without fail. I had zero self respect, zero self esteem, zero confidence, zero capabilities. I was, in every sense of the word, a failure, a miserable, pathetic loser. Today, I respect myself more than I do almost anybody in the world. I love myself, I am proud of myself. And again, I attribute all of that to the GMAT. Let me give you a little background about me. I just barely passed, just barely got through for 15 years of my life. Throughout school, throughout undergrad, I stood among the bottom few of my class. It was only when I was about to graduate from my undergrad that I realized that with my grades, I stood no chance at even a mid-tier university for a postgraduate. The only universities I could be looking at were the bottom grade ones, which I realized won't really improve my prospects for a better job even after I graduated from them. So I started to apply for jobs everywhere I could. Applied for every company that came for our placements. Applied through job applications on LinkedIn, cold emailed company after company. And after doing this for entire days, every single day for over a month, and not getting a single response in return, I realized that this wasn't going to work out either. I remember I had started to have sleepless nights just around this time. It would take me hours of lying on my bed to finally fall asleep. And within a couple of hours of that, I would wake up drenched in my own sweat from a nightmare that wasn't very different from what my reality was starting to look like. And this would happen multiple nights in a row. I might not have worked towards them for the past few years or ever for that matter, but I still had dreams. I still dreamt of becoming a rich, successful, confident, driven man. And over these entire nights of lying on my bed wide awake, I remember starting to realize that they were more delusions than they were dreams. And I remember the painful process of having to communicate that realization to my own fragile little mind that was already starting to lose its shit. I remember telling it to stop dreaming of getting a job with an XYZ rupee package and start dreaming of getting any job at all. I remember asking it to wake the fuck up and have more realistic aspirations. It was around this point that the thought of giving the GMAT first entered my mind. I swear to you, I didn't have the guts to look up whether even excelling at this exam could even begin to compensate for my less than ideal grades over the past 15 years. Whether there even was a point in trying after having so spectacularly messed up for so long. Honestly, looking back, it was the only one belief that kept me sane for all that while, that brought me back from the depths of despair and hopelessness and gloom. And with that belief, with that conviction, for the first time in my life, I decided to excel at something. I decided to give my 100% towards something. I decided to pick a purpose for myself. I decided that for however long it took, for how many ever months it took me, my entire life, every hour, every second of my day would revolve around my purpose. And the rest, as they say, is history. Coming to my strategy, I can't tell you the number of times I've had to give this answer to people. I remember when I gave the exam and when I got my report and I put it up on Instagram. Over the next few days, I got a call from literally every single person I knew, because everyone who knew me knew that I wasn't the kind of person who would put in effort toward anything. So they called me looking for the hack, for the trick, for anything to help them shortcut the time and the effort required. I'll tell you what I told them. I said, I'll tell you the one thing that I did. The one thing that guaranteed my score, the one thing because of which, even walking into the exam hall, even before I sat down for the test, I had the confidence that I would get at least a 700. A 700, by the way, is, I think, within the top 10% in the world is considered to be a spectacular score. And it was true, it was the fact that I did have the confidence. I knew that I would definitely be getting a 700. But yeah, continuing with the story, I could see their faces light up. I heard the excitement in their voices as they said, "Go on." I said, I studied to my capacity. I studied to my limit, to the point I knew I couldn't study anymore, day after day, every single day for about 5 months. Anyone can do it.
I worked out 6 hours a day, every day, for the last 20 years straight. I mean, anybody could do it, right?
I still remember the expression, the instantaneous change in expression among some of them. I'm sorry to break your bubble, to let down your expectations, to give you the boring, unsexy answer. But what else were you expecting? One thing I'll tell you for a fact: as long as you're looking for the hack, for the trick, for the shortcut, you're not going to get the score that you want. Here's a little motivation for you. Whatever score that you're aiming for, it is possible. You can get it. I was not someone you would ever expect to get a score like this. I couldn't have even imagined me getting a score like this. If I could do it, you can do it. Whatever score that you're aiming for, it is possible. It's just that it's going to take your all. It's going to take you putting in everything you have, putting absolutely your 100% on the line to get the score that you want. Doing well on this one exam can help you compensate for a lifetime of mediocrity or lifetime of failures. This one exam can change the trajectory of the entire rest of your life. It's just that it'll have to be the only thing in your life for the next months to years, depending on what exam you're preparing for. But then again, here's a question for you. What else are you going to do with these months to years? What would you rather be doing than charting the trajectory, charting the course that the entire rest of your life will take? What are you going to do for these next months if not put in your 110% towards that? Sit and scroll through Instagram, play video games, watch YouTube videos? The time is going to pass anyway. Before you know it, these months, these years will have passed you by. It's up to you to decide what your life will look like at the end of it. I remember most of my friends did their prep with the mentality that they'll try this time, they'll get a feel for the exam, and of course they'll try to get a good score, but if they don't, they'll give a second attempt, a third attempt, whatever it takes. Months before even giving the first attempt, they were already thinking about the possibility of having to give a second or third attempt. I'll share with you my mindset. 2 months before I finally gave the exam, I remember I'd sat my parents down and told them, I am putting my 110% on the line. I have nothing more to give. I have nothing more in me. So I told them, whatever score I get, no matter what score I get, I am going to accept it. I'm going to need you to accept it as well. Know that that is what I'm capable of. Know that that is the peak of my capacity. And that is what it really was. That was what it really was. There was never going to be a second attempt, no matter what score I got. That is the mindset with which I walked into the exam hall. And that's the only way to do it. To be at peace with whatever happens. I remember before I had finally walked into the exam hall, before, for the past, at least for the week, leading up to the exam, just dreading and I was filled with fear that I would be paralyzed when it finally came time for the exam, when I finally sat down for the exam, because my months of blood, sweat and tears were going to be tested over here. Everything that I had put into for this thing would be tested. The result of it would be determined within the next few hours. Right? So I thought that I would be paralyzed with fear, but I'll be honest with you. As I walked into the exam hall, I felt this weird sense of peace, of confidence, an almost stoic feeling in the thought that whatever happens will happen. Now, I know for a fact that I did my best, that I gave it my all, that I put every ounce of myself into this. The rest is out of my control. So I'm going to be okay with it. No matter what happens, no matter what score I get now, I will accept it. I will be at peace with it. There will be no regrets, no repents. What will be, will be. That is the confidence with which I want you to finally walk into the exam hall. Pick a challenge that's beyond your capability, that's beyond even your current potential. And in the process of realizing that dream, in the process of accomplishing that challenge, you'll make yourself into more than you are. At the end of the day, that is what matters most. I've said this before, guys. I've said that as humans, we need a challenge. We need something that pushes us beyond our limits. And that is that point when you've picked something like that, which is pushing you to through your limits, that's helping you create new limits for yourself. Those will be the most fulfilling days of your life. Those will be the greatest days of your life. That is an experience that you do not want to miss out on. And through the excuse of this exam that you've decided to pick for yourself, you get to go through that transformation. You get to pick that, you get to have that challenge for yourself that will push you beyond your limits. I wish you all the very best on this beautiful, beautiful journey that you've decided to embark upon. Make your wildest dreams a reality, one day at a time. I will see you in the next one. Oh, and by the way, if you would like my help with this exam, if you would like me to help you structure your days, build your routine, keep you accountable, hold you responsible, if you would like me to take up responsibility for you doing well on your exam, I offer my coaching services for a very low price, and there's a special discount especially for my YouTube audience as well. So check out the description, hit me up on the first link, and let's take it from there.